How's it going, folks? I just wanted to show you some adjustments I've made to my Anet A8. Now, I was ready to toss this printer in the dump and buy another one, but then I realized I hadn't spent enough time with it, and I recently came up with a project that I needed to do, so I printed out some parts, and I got some relatively mediocre results. So I started to make a few adjustments to the printer to try and obviously firm it up and keep everything in line and get some slightly better prints out of it. Because I mean, out of the box, they're okay. I've had this thing about 2.5, 3 years now, and I've never really done much with it until about 3 weeks ago. I had this little project, so like I said, I printed my parts. They came out half-assed decent, but not great. Not great by any stretch of the word. They were, I had to sand and I needed some dimensional correctness, and that just wasn't there. Anyway, what I decided to do was I came across a YouTube video, and the guy had a bunch of upgrades, things that should be done to the Anet 8, and I'd recommend this for any printer, to be quite honest. Even the cube styles. Now, first off, put it on a big cement pad. If you've got a block of cement that's 4 feet high and 4 feet wide and 4 feet deep, put it on that. But most people don't have that in their house or their apartments, so I bought myself a big 24 by 24 patio stone. And it's got, you wouldn't believe the difference. Just putting the printer on the patio stone made it probably, I don't know, like 50% quieter, at least. Another thing I noticed, if you own an A8, and you probably know this already, you get a lot of vibration from up in the top of these. If you see, watch. You hear that? A lot of vibration from these lead screws. And I don't want to pin them down because obviously, for obvious reasons, you don't want two guides. You've already got a guide. You just want this to be the movement up and down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill this out bigger so it doesn't hit the frame at all. It just sits there basically floating, because the vibrations annoy the hell out of me. And I'm an apartment dweller, so I can't have, make a hell of a lot of noise. Anyhow, the big change is this cargo strap that you see here. Now, initially I put the strap across here, and I put it across the front, in front of the actual plate, okay, in front of the top plate. You can't do that because if you look at the geometry of this thing, okay, you've got the top plate here. What does that do? It's cantilevered and it sits out way forward of the actual vertical supports. So all it does is it pushes down on the front and it wants to bend the entire machine. So what I did was I kept my mounting just slightly ahead of where it's pinned on the machine. Okay, but what I did was I put the force down on the actual vertical structures, obviously. Okay, I printed off a couple of little, whatever you want to call them, just so the belt doesn't get torn up. This one actually needs to be moved out to the edge because it's digging into the belt, the corner of my aluminum rod or the channel. And then I put one in the middle that's slightly taller than these. And actually, I should probably make this about this high, because you want more downforce in the middle than you do on the edges. Because if all your force is on the edges, all it's doing is trying to force the machine inwards from the sides. And you can't have that, right? It's got to have downforce so everything stays perfectly square. Anyway, once I figured that out and put it behind the plate, everything seemed to work fine. Initially I had it in front, and what was happening was as the plate moved and it started to print things, it would start to catch. The actual print head would catch on things because there was too much downforce on the front of the machine. So anyways, I moved the strap and everything's good. But you would not believe the difference, and I'm going to show you now. I had an issue before when I first fired this thing up about 3 weeks to a month ago, when I had this project I had to do. And I printed off a cube, and you can see the problem there is I have my infill showing through the walls. Right? See the pattern? That's bicubic, so it makes diagonal diagonal and horizontal supports within the inside of the cube. And the letters weren't so great. You know, it could have been a lot better. The letters aren't terrible, you know, like I said, but it could have been better. So then I printed off this. And you'll see this is at 0.2 layer height. And it's actually pretty damn good. I'm quite impressed with it. There's a slight little bit of ringing. I'm going to try and get that in the light so you can see it. I don't know whether you can. There's a little bit of ringing. But now I've got some problems with vertical lines, and I can only assume that that's from the belts rolling over the non-tooth rollers, which I'm going to try and rectify that, because I'd rather fix this one than buy another printer. And you'll see that one's probably got some striations as well. I don't know if you can't really see. And another thing, it's a 20 by 20 cube, and it's actually 20 by 20. I've tried this every which way from Sunday. See, there you go. Shit, trying to do this with my phone. There you go. It's very dimensionally accurate. I just got to get rid of the lines to make a nice surface. But other than that, I have no complaints. But anyways, guys, strap your printer down. And or make sure it just cannot move. You know, I've been watching online with some Tronxy printers, the cube style that have come out, and they've got these pathetically thin aluminum rails that you know, they're too thin to even pick your nose with, put it that way. But anyway, I hope somebody can gain something from this. Take care, guys.